Hey, welcome to BSB TV. Today you've got myself, Kevin Gammy, and you've got Daniel Hardcastle, who's joined me as part of the BSB team. And just for something new, Daniel's actually going to run the show. So Daniel, over to you.
Thank you, Kevin. So today, guys, we're going to talk about how important your why is and how sometimes your why can conflict with your business priorities. So, Kevin, we've been going through a bit of a journey here on our why. Talk to us a little bit about, why do we need a why? What's so important about it?
Yeah, it's one of those things that's so often overlooked in business. And many times as a business consultant, I get people coming to me and they start talking to me about, I want to increase sales, right? And, here's these people that I want to market to. And the funny thing is, quite often I'm talking to them about, but is what I can see how this works for you, but how does that work for them? Okay, but if we take a step back and we start to think about our why and we start to think about what's driving us to be passionate about what we do, then we can start to attract people who understand that this is important. And the more that we bring out our values and the things that we believe around our why, the more we're going to attract clients who resonate with what we have and what we offer.
Exactly.
So that's what's so important.
It is. Now, we took a bit of a journey. Do you want to talk a little bit about your journey with BSB and your why and your belief even?
So my journey with BSB, boy, that goes back a while, 8 years, right? It took us 10 months to get 100 people into BSB. And if people have been hanging around long enough, I've written about this and that many times, but just we'll fly over it again. 10 months to get 100 people. Most people would have given up well before that and gone, I don't know anything about social media. And quite frankly, I still only scratch the surface, right? So if you're after a social media person, I'm not the person. But if you're after joining a community where you can meet like-minded business owners, then BSB is the place. So it's really important to understand what you do and everything. So from that 10 months, we eventually started to get a little bit hang of it, and we attracted a few more people. We had an expo and kind of expanded out. We had 1,200 people by the time we had the first expo. We had close to 2,000 by the time we had our second, which was in reality about 2.5 or 3 years in to the BSB journey. It hasn't all been a straight line. And as we've been refocusing our beliefs on who we are and how we're going to serve and who we're going to serve and why we're serving, we've had different expansions of growth over that time period. So it's been a really interesting journey. It has been frustrating too from time to time. And a lot of people, when you're pursuing your why, pretend that it's all smooth sailing. And I'm here to say that it won't always be smooth sailing, but that doesn't mean you should give up. Sometimes you should double down. Sometimes you should change your approach. And so that's what I've been trying to constantly reinvent what BSB is around our why and around our belief. And so that we can continue. Our why hasn't changed, but some of those beliefs, as you pointed out, have.
Yeah, now that's a good segue, because I'm a big believer that your beliefs can change, just like your values can change. If you can think about when you're 10 years old, you have a particular value set. When you're 25 years old and you're just dating, you're meeting people, probably going to settle down and get married, another value set comes in. And boy, when you become a dad, your values change again. So Kevin, talk to me a little bit about your belief and your values and that journey of change.
Well, before we go back, in relation to that, I want to talk about the importance of belief and your why. Okay. So when I first started work, I started working for IBM, right? This is in the early 80s. So 1983, I started working for IBM. At that time, IBM was the dominant global IT company. Okay. They had more market share than their next top 5 competitors had. Now, Apple was in existence at that time, but wasn't in that top 5 in that top 6 list. They were so far below, it wasn't funny. And yet today, when I talk about IBM, people go, who? because they lost their relevance when they were so focused on what they do, right? They had an ad campaign. Nobody ever gets sacked for buying IBM, which was really just saying, hey, if you want to stick with the pack, join IBM,
Yeah.
right? It's safe. And what Apple was doing at that stage, as I said, they were a smidgen. They weren't even on the radar of these companies. And they decided that their whole premise for being was that they wanted to challenge the status quo. They wanted to, they believe that we should challenge the status quo. They believe in thinking differently, right? IBM's motto was think. So they came out with think differently. Now, another great person who absolutely inspired a nation was Martin Luther King. Now, if you think about his speech on Capitol Hill that's ever so famous, it's all about what he believes. He didn't give us a 12-point plan of here's how we're going to change the laws in this country. He just talked about what he believed to inspire people to come and join his thing. And back in that time when there was no social media, and I can promise you the news footage of the time was not helping him create a following, but he had 250,000 people following him on that march, right? So it's really important to focus on what you believe in business, because as much as that sounds all airy and fairy and that sort of stuff, then you're going to attract the people who buy into that belief. And that's the important thing, that we're attracting people who are like-minded.
Yeah.
And who want to come on that journey with us.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good. So talk to us a little bit about your why. What is that? And what is your belief for BSB?
Look, my why really stems back from the GFC and post GFC and trauma that I had in relation to that. I had a successful recruitment company leading into the GFC. Did I lead it well? No. I've learned so much since that time period. I led like the Pied Piper, right? That, hey, we're going to have some fun and all come follow me, and people would. And I had a team of 15 that were having an absolute ball during the good times. But when the bad times hit, there was tension and angst and stress. Nobody wanted to give up their jobs, but they also weren't prepared to take a pay cut for the whole. So we had to start laying people off, which they also resented because I was too open a leader at that time. And I didn't make the tough calls as I should have. Because at that stage, my why was all about let's just play along and have some fun.
Yeah.
When it comes to BSB, that's not my belief. That's not my why. My why is that I do not want business owners going through that pain and trauma that I suffered when times are tough.
Yeah.
And my belief around that is that small business is really the driving force of Australia.
Yeah.
Small business is the thermometer with which you can find the public health of Australia.
Yeah.
You see, we employ 45% of the non-government entities, right? Or non-government population. And with that, virtually 1 in 2 people out there that aren't employed by the government in Australia are employed by small business. And so when small business is doing well, society is doing well.
Exactly.
And this is what I believe.
And I think, touching on that, that's where you and I have really hit off in the last 6 months, because you're right. You vibrate with people that have the same values and the same belief, and you sell to the people that you want to sell to, like-minded people. When you and I met, my belief, and it's still the same, is I believe business, you get stronger communities through stronger business. So when business is humming, community is humming, schools, sports clubs, and so on. So that's what we started vibrating with, is that helping people out and helping business and having strong communities, which tied us together. Kevin, when you talk to your when you consult and you talk to your clients and they want to know how to create a why or create a belief, talk me through the steps that you go through to get them there.
So there's kind of 2 parts to it, and the 2 parts both have 4 questions involved. right? So the first one is we all know what we do. So let's start with the 9. Hey, what do you do? And put that down. Second part is, so why do you do this? Why not something else? Because if you're not passionate about doing this, I encourage you to go and do something different, because you're going to enjoy life so much more. The third question is, who do you serve? So who is it that absolutely both wants and needs what you do? And the fourth question is, what do they want from you?
Good one.
So often, and I get people coming to me and they have already decided, I've got this product and it'd be really good in that market because I can see that they need it. And it's just like all these people who want to form partnerships with accounting firms because they've got good relationships. They're a trusted advisor to their clients, and they're all pitching to the accountants, hey, we should do a partnership. And what they're really saying is, I want you to promote my stuff to your clients.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not a quid pro quo. It's not a this for that relationship. So it's doomed for failure. So they're the first 4 questions in the first part. In the second part, I want you to be thinking on a more general level. So what is the problem that you solve for your clients?
That's a good one.
Now, most people just answer that instantly, right? And they don't think about, well, what problem does McDonald's solve? Well, McDonald's solves hunger, right? That's all they do. People are hungry, they go to McDonald's.
Fighting kids, hungry, fighting kids in the back of the car, driving to McDonald's, and you got quiet for an hour.
So what is the problem that you solve? Then understand the pain that is causing that problem. That's part 2. Part 3 is, what will alleviating that pain for your client, what will that give them?
Yeah.
Right? How will they feel before? How will they feel after? What does it truly give them?
Yeah.
And then the fourth question here is the most critical. It's coming up from all of that questioning. What do you believe that you offer in what you do?
Yeah. Well, that's
so
good.
that you can start inspiring people through what you believe and how you believe you help. Now, McDonald's don't have to come out with a, we believe we cure hunger, right? But ultimately, if you look at what McDonald's, at all of their ads, it's all about bringing people together around their food. They're all having fun. They're all engaging. They're all right. So they are bringing their beliefs out through their advertising without screaming out, we believe. But maybe for a short time, you do need to scream out, you believe, because it's your beliefs that will set you apart from your competitors and potentially from your industry. If we go back to Apple, they didn't believe that they were a computer company. They believed in challenging the status quo.
Yeah.
Right? And they believed in thinking differently.
Yeah.
So that leads to the fact that they can then innovate and move from various industries. So think about the beliefs that you have. And that's really what understanding your why is all about.
That's
Going
wonderful.
through that process from your point of view and from your client's point of view to come up with what you believe and how you believe you help.
No, that's great. Hey, just a big shout out to Stephen Harris. Stephen Harris is typing in there. So thanks, Steve, for that. And look, if you've got any other questions or comments, there'll be some chat going on in here. There'll also be a bit of a link back to the BSB why. Now, we talked a little bit about your why and what we're doing. So how is that translated now into BSB? What are we doing different that our members can jump onto?
Well, literally everything that we do is designed to help people, connect, engage, collaborate. Basically, we want to help you do more business with each other. And all of the tools, including the Facebook group, including our directory, including networking, as we relaunch that and get into it now that the restrictions or the restraints of the last 2 years are seemingly to go away. We will be creating opportunities for you to create better relationships, because great business is built on great relationships. So, yes, there is a directory. Why is it important to be part of that? People are searching the directory because they don't want to ask in the group and get overwhelmed by 50 different responses of who should I deal with in relation to this. It's there as a tool where you can put information in, but you can measure your success of that, because you can use the directory sharing information into BSB as an absolute platform for you to get your message to more people. Yes, you've got your own website for that. Yes, you've got your own Facebook page for that, but look at the traffic that's going on to that. And utilizing the tools that we have is an ability to get put back into that same, ideal client rich stream on a consistent basis. So that's why we're doing that. Our networking will be so that you can meet like-minded business owners. So it really is, everything we're doing is so that you can form stronger bonds with other small business owners.
Brilliant. So if I can just recap, from your why, we've then, you don't want people to go through the same misery that you went through, basically. Through your beliefs, it's all about coming together to grow your business through collaboration, inspiration, and sustainability. So every day we're doing a bit of a talk where one of our leadership team is going to come in there. We've got content going. You've got the newsletter going out on a Sunday. And if you haven't clicked on there to see if you're a winner yet, then you've missed out, because that finishes. So that jackpotted to $150 last week, I believe.
It went off. Alison Rue called me last week, or she posted in the group, "Hey, I'm a winner," which she was. This week's potential winner hasn't done that to my knowledge. I haven't had a chance to look lately. So it'll jackpot back to $100 next week. That's if they haven't reached out, but I haven't noticed any missed calls on my phone. The person who won is someone that's known to me, is someone that posts in the group on a regular basis, and I think they've missed out, which they will be kicking themselves for.
I opened my newsletter last night around about 10 p.m. because I didn't want to miss out. So the newsletter comes out every Sunday. Have a look for it. If you want the newsletter, go onto our portal, click the newsletter, or sign up for a free listing, and you get the newsletter automatically. Now, Kevin, next week we're going to talk a little bit about the portal. So we talked a little bit about the why. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the how next week, and we're going to talk about that, building that how in your business and how you've done that through the portal. So guys, thank you very much for joining me and Kevin today. Have a wonderful week and enjoy the rest of the series that we have on each day at midday. Thank you.
Thanks very much for supporting us and for running this show, Daniel.
No problem.